Okay, yeah, take two. My remote thing is not working. Normally I turn the camera on and off with, but anyway, welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Before I get started on the big rascal build here, I had a gentleman message me. I do a lot of side repairs for people, support my mini bike habit. A gentleman called me and said his kiddo's got a cart that needs some attention. So I talked to him briefly. I said, yeah, bring it over. Let's take a look at it, see what we can get going on with it. So I'm going to spin you around and show you what we're going to try and tear apart and see what's going on with this thing. It's a cool cart. So y'all stay tuned. All right, for today's project, we got us a Carter cart. That's what he said it was, so I'm just going by what he told me. There is a little sticker plate down there in the bottom with like a little serial number. I kind of pulled the little paint back a little bit, or sticker or whatever, but he said it was a Carter cart. Oh, hey, look. Yeah, Carter. So pretty cool, big size cart. And he was having some issues. This thing is not a live axle. It has a differential in it. So we're going to see if we can zoom in. That whole area down there that bolts to the sprocket is a differential. So it's kind of cool. So, you know, you got like a limited slip deal. You got a brake band on this side for that side of the axle. You got another one on that side of the axle. So the problem he is saying with it is somebody apparently made him an axle, a machine shop somewhere, or something to that effect. But he's having problems with this right side rear wheel at high speeds. It starts getting real wobbly and kind of all over the place. And I kind of noticed when it was, we're sitting here looking at it, I'm looking at one tire looks pretty straight. This one over here looks kind of like it's cocked in at an angle, little tire wear. So that makes me to believe there's some type of bearing or something that might be out in it. We don't know. I've never taken one of these apart before. So we have that issue. And also he said sometimes the converter like locks up and sticks the belt. So I don't think this is a comment. I didn't see comment on it anywhere. So we might have to look at that. It's a big old belt that's on there. And I kind of just glanced it over and I'm like, well, the belt don't look bad. And I asked him if he ever serviced it. And he was like, no. So we need that to look at. But I figure what we do is we'll get this thing up on blocks. He says it runs. Sure, we're going to get it up on blocks or jack stand or whatever. Crank it up, see if we can kind of get it to duplicate what problem it's having with the wobbly wheel. And see what this driver over here might need. It might need to be services. So we'll do a how-to video on that. And I know some of these have a bushing down inside there, bronze bushing. So that might need to be replaced, or the belt, one of the two. So what we're going to do now, already checked the oil in. It's got oil in it, so we're good there. So I'm going to get this thing jacked up or on some jack stands. We're going to crank it up and see what everything does, and see if we can't get it to duplicate the problem. So let's get into it, see if we can bring this thing back to life. All right, I got it all jacked up, got the wheels off the ground. Do we have enough clearance there? Yeah, that ought to be good. All right, like I said, check the oil in it. Oil's good. Let's turn this thing on, give her a little choke. Give her a little problem. Some of these systems will up over that down here. Yeah. All right, let's turn it off. And change right a bit. Yeah. I see the track good. All right. When I raised it up, I noticed this wheel here was really had a lot of slack in it. So let's take a look at that. Yeah. The camera zoom. Let's turn it this way. Yeah. There's a lot of play in this movement, or a lot of play in this side axle. So this part down here, kind of hardy. Everything don't want to zoom right. That little black part in there that bolts to the green part of the frame looks like a carrier right down inside of here. That looks like there probably is some type of bearing of some sort in there. Let's wiggle this side over here. See if we got any movement down there. Nowhere near like the other side. Yeah, so I think that little piece down there, right inside this little black piece, I'm going to say there's probably bearings in there. Like I said, I've never taken one apart. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to get the wheel off of it, get all that stuff off so we can get down to that area, see how all that stuff comes apart, because you got the brake drum down in here too. So what I'm going to do is grab some tools, see if I can get that ripped apart. We're going to take a better look at it, see if we can figure out what's going on with it. All right, this is where we're at. Got the wheel off, got this big hub assembly. This is this thing's heavy. But anyway, that's your hub assembly, your brake deal, or your brake drum. Got the brake caliper off just to get it out of the way. So now I was able to get down here. We got a lock collar, and there does look like there's a bearing in there, because when you move the axle, I'm going to say there's a bearing or two in there, maybe one on each side. Come on, baby, zoom. There we go. So this is where all the wobble is coming from. So we got a locking type collar with some Allen screws, and I see there's another one back over here on the inside. So I'm not sure how all this comes apart, but I know what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get all this rust and mud and everything cleaned off so I can get the Allen screws out of there and see how we can get this whole assembly, because to me it looks like there's maybe a seal here and probably some bearings inside this hub. Like I said, never taken one apart. Hopefully we ain't got to split the whole differential to get this axle out. Maybe it's spline, but that's what I'm going to do next is get all this stuff cleaned up, get the shaft cleaned up so all the collars will slide off, WD-40 them, and maybe there's two bolts that hold underneath here to hold this assembly to the frame. So I'm going to get that all loose and see if we can't get it apart, find out what the culprit is here. All right, well, on this particular rear end, you got to pull the whole stinking thing out, which took me forever, and which I found out some other problems too. You can see that shiny down here on the bottom of this chain guard. I can see where the chain had been rubbing that, or the sprocket. The chain was chain's pretty wore out, so I think we need to replace the chain on it. And you can see where the chain, well, wherever it's at, one side or the other has been rubbing against that chain guard, and it's been hitting the bolts back there at the back. But it took me a while to get that out. Of course, I had to use a favorite Allen wrench right here, to get one of the set screws out for the lock collar. One came right out with no problem. As you can see, I had to drive it easy out into it just to get it out of there. Yeah, that was like good, almost 45 minutes. Because I didn't want to try and put any heat on it because I didn't want to mess the bearings up. But come to find out, once we got the whole thing out, we got it over here on the table. Oh, yeah. One little set screw in this collar, right in that little hole. Took me forever to get it out. I tried to put just a little bit of heat on it, but I don't want to mess up anything inside this gearbox. But anyway, got that out finally. And we can see the culprit if we can zoom in on it. This was the right side of the cart that had the wobbly wheel side. As you can see in there, I don't know if it'll zoom in or not, but you can kind of see some ball bearings left in there. Not much of one. And there's a little bit of them kind of right down there at the edge. There they are. So whatever holds all them ball bearings together, the race, I'm assuming, is completely gone. This side don't look too bad. This looks like something new that somebody might have put on here or made for him. Can't remember what he said he had done to this thing. Somebody made him an axle or something or another. But we're going to check that side as well. Not sure how this thing all comes apart. I've never played with one of these. Yeah. Anyway, does this have a drain? It's got some kind of plug right here on the top. I don't know, maybe fill that with grease. I'm going to try and see what that looks like on the inside. They're kind of inspected or whatever without taking too much apart. But game plan is now I'm going to get this shaft all cleaned up. And since I got the screws out of this collar, or the collar that was right here that locked this bearing race, looks like this is a locking bearing race, I do believe. So at least it's freed up somewhat. But I'm going to get the shaft all cleaned up, and hopefully I can just ease this thing off. We can get it in there and see if we can get a number off bearings or whatnot. But that is definitely the problem for sure. So let me get it cleaned up, see if we can't get it apart. We'll see what it looks like. All right. Well, I got it up here on the table. And after a little, just lightly tapping, this side of the axle actually is splined. Got it over here. It's actually splined. It'll zoom in. Yeah, so I was tapping on the hub, bearing hub, and it started to come right out. I was like, oh, sweet. So this actual side of the axle is splined into the differential. So it slid right out, which is good. So I don't take anything else apart. But we did find the culprit. There's all the ball bearings. This is actually the center part of the race where the ball bearings ride right inside here. Is move. Come on. Now it's stuck. It's actually the actual bearing race itself completely broke in half, which dropped all the bearings. So this is what it's supposed to look like. This is the good one, or better than the other side, which goes right inside like so, which is all one piece. So the rest of it exploded in there, just blew up. So I'm gonna have to try and probably weld on that a little bit. Sometimes you do these bearing races, if you go on the inside and weld to them, just running a bead right around the inside ain't gotta look pretty. It will take that race and like draw it in, and sometimes you could just whack it on the ground and your whole bearing race will fall right out. But if not, it does give you something to run your punch through to grab onto. You can hit the weld that you put in it to able to tap it out if it don't come out. So we got that out. Yeah, that is not cool. It's supposed to look like that. But this is the bearing that was in it. This one's not too bad. So hopefully I'm going to try and clean this up. And I'm going to load everything up, run around town to the local bearing supply places, and hopefully I can get one local. This is an older cart, I'm assuming. So sometimes finding stuff like this that was made just for your particular cart, hopefully I don't run into that problem. Hopefully there's a number on it somewhere. But if not, I'm going to load all this up. That way the guys over at the bearing place, they'll actually can, mic the bearing, mic the shaft, and all that good stuff. And hopefully we can find something and be back in business. I'm going to go ahead and check these since I got it out and see how they look. Since you already got it apart, now's a good time to replace all of them. But these didn't feel too bad. But I'm going to check them anyway. But before I take anything else apart, I'm going to see if I can even hopefully track down a bearing. So let me get onto that and keep my fingers crossed. All right. Well, we had outstandingly good luck. We had tracked it down. We got some bearings that are probably going to work. We're going to have to make them work because there ain't nothing, there ain't no number or anything on these, and trying to get them directly from a manufacturer from Carter is probably not going to go well. But I think we got everything mic'd out. Everything was a standard size, so we're pretty good. I got that other bearing piece that's out of here. So when you get the rest of the race, all that off, get the shaft all polished down, cleaned up, and reassembled. And we ought to be back in business on this part as far as getting the axle assembly back together. So I'm going to get that knocked out, then we'll carry on. All right, well, I got the shaft put back in here, got both the bearings on, left my collars loose till I get everything lined up. Everything went back in the same spot pretty much. So, and this whole assembly, if I can get it out of here, there's bushing right there. I checked that bushing. Bushing looks good. Repacked the gearbox. There's really no place to like check grease on it. There was a couple little plugs I cleaned off. But I think this is part of like the pinion gear that holds everything inside. When I looked through that in, I could See, this looks like the rod that would hold the pinion gear or something in, but I didn't want to split the case. So I just got in from this side right here, repacked it full of grease. So we ought to be good. So now what I'm going to do is get everything back in the cart, get everything lined up, and start reassembling it and see if we can get it back going. All right. Got the axle all put back into place. Well, look really good. So what I did now is I did put me a, let me grab this here. Got me a straight edge. Went down. Well, you know, you get the gist. Got the straight edge on the sprocket to sprocket. Make sure everything was good and lined up. And then back here, this hardware. Let's see, get my finger back here. There's 2 nuts and bolts that hold this chain guard on. You can see where the chain's been rubbing into that bottom one down there. So while I'm here, I'm gonna replace that. Put some new hardware on this end, get this pulled back up. But we got a new chain. So it's got to looking. I noticed that chain was really sloppy on here. And I don't know if you could see where it's at or not, but that back side was rubbing into the bolt that I just showed you down there, rubbing on the head of that nut or bolt, whatever was down there. So, and this thing was pretty stretched out. And I got to looking, this is actually 40 chain, and it calls for 420. So we're going to put a new piece of chain on it, get the chain guard strap, little chain guard thingy down here. We're going to get this all bolting back up with some new hardware, and check the bearings in the jack shaft along here, make sure all that was all good. So we're going to get the chain put on it, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Yeah, get the new hardware on it, new chain, and go ahead and put the axles and the hubs back on. I checked the keyways and everything. There's a big, long keyway that goes inside the hub. All that was good. And so, anyway, put the brakes back on it. I think we'll be about done with that part. Then we're going to get over here to see what's going on with the converter. Go ahead and yank it off and take a better look at the belt and see what the inside of that driver looks like. All right, now we're going to jump down here. Got the axle all in, the hub's on, everything except for the wheels. We're going to jump down here and pull this driver off. I got the right size. Yeah. Bolt. You need a lock washer on that thing. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Thing's pretty grungy. Look at that. All right, let's set that right there. Pull this apart. Golly, that thing is rusty. Man, well, the springs look good in it. Not a lot of wear on that part. That looks good. I think we just need to good cleaning up all inside here. This is supposed to slide real easy. And I think he was saying something about his belt was getting hung. This was staying engaged. This could be a lot of the problem right here because all that rust that's on there and inside the hub, that's supposed to jive. And it, yeah, that's sticking really bad. We'll get it cleaned up and look for wear on it and get this serviced. Let's see what the back part looks like. Get the belt off. Let's see. What's inside the belt look like? Yeah. That belt is pretty ate up in some spots. Yeah. What kind of belt is this? It's a USA. Is it a Comet belt? It's a 12-130-88 made in the US of A. Yo. Huh. I don't know if I have a belt that size. Majority of a 30 series belts are like a 725 from Go Power Sports, what I use, but let's see, you got the bushing on it. Yeah, that don't look too bad. Pretty grungy on the inside. No spacer back here. No. Oh, yeah, this needs to be all cleaned up. All right, so we're going to get this over to the table. We're going to give this a good servicing. Show you how to do that. Get all this cleaned up. And we're going to see if we can find a belt. I think we really need to put a belt on this thing. Yeah. All right, so let's, I'm going to go look for a belt, and then we'll service this here converter for him. All right, got the converter up here on the table. I looked around and for a belt, what you got here, the belt that came off the cart, and I did some measurements because the only thing I had was the 725 belts that I run on the 30 series, but this one's actually separated pretty far apart. From the rear driver is a little bit bigger also, so I measured the distance between the bolt for the rear and the center bolt to the crank. I got that measurement right there, wrote that down. So I'm gonna give old Go Power Sports a call and see what they got going on, see if they can fix me up, which I'm pretty sure they can. And I did measure the outside diameter of the belt. I have a tape that I just run around the outside. Got that measurement for them also. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get all this stuff cleaned up. Since I'm giving them a call, we're going to get a new bushing. This is pretty worn. It's got some spots in it. So we'll just show that to them. So we're going to keep that to the side. Actually, we're going to put that in the scrap metal pile for them. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get this all cleaned up and whatnot. I looked it over again. Springs all look good. The spot right here on the very front, sometimes it's easy to get watered out if you don't have them tight because you have a slotted edge right here on your inside slide piece. So I made sure that this was all, let's put it on there. Make sure this is all good and tight. This right here wasn't wallowed out and all that good stuff. But looked it over pretty good. I think what we're going to do is we're going to clean the snot out of it. I'm going to brake clean everything, blow it out with air when I get done, then put dry lube on it. But I'm going to sand this down really good. Get that out of there. Get this all sanded down. And I think we'll be back in business. So I'm going to get this cleaned up. We'll take a look at it after I got it cleaned. We'll show you. I'm going to show you how to lube everything, what I use, and we'll get them back going. All right, I got the converter stuff all cleaned up here. Get everything out of the way. Let's take a look at it. Boy, that looks nice and shiny. Got the inside slide piece all cleaned up. And make sure there's no grooves in it. This one looked nice and good. Clean the inside as well. The backing plate, got it all cleaned up. This was really rusty and whatnot. Got all that cleaned up. Double check the inside springs again. Make sure all that was nice and clean. When you service these, you don't need a lot of fancy stuff. I use, get off there, El Cheapo dollar store wire brush, Scotch-Brite pad, dollar store brake cleaner. That's about it. Clean it all up. I took air, blew it out. If not, you can just let it dry, wipe it out with a paper towel. And when I go back to service it, there's some parts that I'm going to use. I use a dry lube. I don't know whatever brand this is. It's a Molly dry lube. And I've heard people say over the time, like, no, you don't lubricate your clutch. Well, we're not really lubricating it. We're putting a dry lube on it. And I know there's going to be somebody out there that says, no, you're not supposed to. So, got the handy dandy comic book, right? Not a comic book. It's a comet. Kind of funny, right? Tells you all the stuff about comet clutches, blah, blah, blah. And in one of the pages in there, they actually have right here for you, Dry Lube by Comet. So, yeah. I was, don't know where I got this book. It does have 2004 of 05 in it. Richmond, Illinois, blah, blah, blah. You can track you down one of these. It's very handy. Got all kind of stuff on it. Tells you how to put your chain on it. I grabbed it because I was going to see if I could look in here and find a belt number. A Comet belt number. But anyway, so back to servicing the clutch. We're going to dry lube a few pieces. I usually take this coat hanger, Shingletta, just so I can hang it just like so. You ain't got to get crazy with this stuff. It's got a ball in it. So we're going to shake it up. It's probably cold. Let's see where I'm not going to spray something all over a camera. How about we just hit it right here, all over the table. Real light. Just like so. That's about how much I put on it, so we can get it up here to zoom in. Nice little gray coat, and it keeps the rust and stuff out for a pretty good while as it wears off, obviously. But I'm going to let it coat, and it's real wet looking. As it dries, it'll turn a flat looking color. This particular brand anyway. So I'm going to let that sit right there. I usually let it dry, and then I'll hit it again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the inside of this drum, and where I want to go, don't need to do the whole thing. I just want this little beveled edge right here from like the inside hole up to the edge. Just this part right here. The rest of it, we don't worry about. Because what that's going to be riding on is this part right here. You can kind of see where it's got a little wear mark here and over here. I'll hit this. I'll just lightly spritz this, real lightly. Call that good. Just on that edge right there, just like so. That's all you got to do to that. And what I try and do is I try and hit a little bit on the inside. If it gets on the outside, we can just wipe it off with brake cleaner. No big deal. But your inside piece that I just sprayed slides right inside there. So I'm going to try and get a little, and I just sprayed it all over the outside. No big deal. A little spray right down in there. Just like so. Like I said, if you get some on the outside like I did, no big deal. A little brake cleaner, paper towel. Wipe it right off. And you're good to go. You don't need any on here where the belt rides. And when I clean that, I just clean this with a Scotch-Brite pad. Don't need to have it shiny. You just want to get all that rust and stuff off because any of that rust will sit there and eat and prematurely wear your belt out. So what I'm going to do is I'll let that dry. Sit that right yonder. And I'm going to come in, like I said, I'm going to catch just this inside edge is all I'm trying to get. So we'll give it a little. Don't take a whole lot. Just like so. That's all you need to do. If you got a little extra out here, that's no, I don't really worry about it. I'm going to let that dry till it turns its kind of a flat color. I'm going to hit it one more time on all of the pieces. Then we can assemble it. So in the meantime, oh, another thing I do hit is this one had the little brass or bronze bushing on it, which I'm going to get a new one. This rides right on there. And this one was pretty gunky and corroded up. So what I like to do is I like to hit this edge right here just a little bit. Give that a little spray, wipe off the excess, and then you're good to go. So we'll hit that with a little bit. See if I'm spraying the right way. Good to go. Got a little extra on that deal. No sweat. Probably burn right off anyway, but all right. So that's pretty much it. So we got this all lined out. We need to track this down the belt. New bushing. I know Go Power Sports has these for sure. So let this dry one more time. We'll coat it. Then we'll have all this stuff ready to go from when we get a belt in. I'm going to try and look that up in the book. So we'll be back when we got a belt. All right. Back on the cart. I got all the parts where I left off. Where I got everything coated with the dry lube. Got with Go Power Sports. We got us a brand new bushing that was on the drive converter. I'll leave you the link for all this stuff for the belt, the bushing, all the good stuff we use. So, but also take a break for a minute and look at this. When you go to Go Power Sports, if you're working on a cart and you don't know exactly what belt length you need, in this had to do a little bit of measurement. Go Power Sports has a chart on their website. So if you go in there and you measure your drive and your driven converter, and then you're going to measure center to center, as far as like, we'll just use this as an example. This is your where your crankshaft is on your engine. So you'll measure from the center of your crankshaft hole, and we'll call this the rear converter. You have a drive and a driven. So we're going to measure from center to center to get your measurement. And then also you're going to measure your front and your rear pulleys. Then you go on their belt chart, and that kind of helps you line out as far as your measurements and all that. They have all that's on their website. So I did go in there and look because I didn't think the belt was going to be correct for this. And once I went on there, I got it all fixed up, looked and seen what I need. They got me fixed up with a brand new belt. But I was going to show you this right quick. This is the unit that came off of it. This is the drive converter that came off of it. And this is a Comet. I'll put that stuff to the side. This is one for my spare race bike. And this is your rear backing plate. Now, if you notice, this rear backing plate is flat. This is a standard 30 series that I have on several of my race bikes. Backing plate is flat. Now, the one that came off this particular cart, as you can see, if I can get it to zoom in, this is curved. See if we can hold them up here for a reference. This Comet one here for the 30 series is flat on the back. This one's curved. So this is Go Power Sports 725 belt, which is what I normally run on the Go Power Sports belt for the 30 series. So we'll pull it out of the sleeve and see if I can kind of show you on the inside of this belt. So we can turn it a little bit. You're going to have one side that's tapered and one side that's flat. So this is going to be a 30 series belt. So whenever you go to put it on your bike, the back of this is flat. Y'all follow me? You need to find the flat side of the belt on the inside here, and that's going to go towards the inside just like so. Y'all follow me? Because the outer part of your converter is going to be tapered, so that's going to go on the tapered side of your belt. Okay? That's for a 30 series. Set that over here. This particular one we pulled off the cart, you can see it's not flat, it's curved. So this belt that we're going to get is going to be tapered on both sides. It's going to be a 20 series belt. So something you want to check when you go on their website, what style belt you get, so you don't say, hey, y'all sent me the wrong belt. You also need to look at your converter. This is on something that's old, so some of the older stuff is going to be different. You're going to have to run a 20 series style belt, which is on the inside. Turn it. The inside is going to be V'd on both sides. So, and it's all on their website, so when you get down there and you get ready to order you a belt, make sure, take a glance at your converter, see if it's flat or if it's V'd like this one, tapered. So that's going to tell you you're going to need a 20 series belt. You know, if you're going, it's real big, you could run a 40 series depending on what your application is. But what I'm getting at is they have a little deal. You click on it. It's a whatever they have it posted as. It's a little chart to find out what belt you need. So something that might help you out down the road. Just don't go order a belt and think, oh, it's a 30 series belt. You get it and you have problems with it, and you might think, oh, they're sending me a junky part that doesn't work or didn't last. So make sure that you're getting a 20 series for your 20 series and your 30 series belt for your 30. So something to look at, which I didn't even think about that until I was cleaning it and noticed this was tapered and not flat. So I was like, whoa, wrong series. I need a 30, instead of the 20. So anyway, what we're going to do now, since Go Power Sports fixed this up with the belt, we got a bushing here. I got everything cleaned up. We're going to reinstall everything on the cart and see if we can get this cart back rolling down the road. All right, I think we've got everything we need. We're going to put everything back together. I usually take a little bit of the shaft's clean, but I usually take a little bit of anti-seize. Get on this crankshaft. Just rub a little coat on it. Not on the inside thread, just on the outside. That way it's easier to get your clutch on and off. And I should have grabbed a paper towel. Nah, pant leg will work. All right, we're going to put the back plate on. It's already got the keyway in it. If it lines up, there we go. We're going to put our new bushing on it. Right. Now what we'll do is we'll take the belt, get her on there, squeeze it over there. Try not to get that anti-seize on the belt. We don't want that on there. That looks good. Okay. Take the slide piece. I don't know what you call it. I just call it the slide piece. It's got little flat edges. These flat edges go out because your outer cover is going to use those two edges to hold it tight. Well, I could put the other piece on there. All right. This piece is all nice and clean. Got that slid on there. Outside cover with the two flat sides. We're going to line up just like so. Go straight on. Crank bolt, flat washer, lock washer. I'm just going to hold that right there in place so this outer cover doesn't move on me. When we go to tighten it down, we hit it with a little impact driver. All right. We ought to be back in business. We're going to go ahead and crank it up since we got it off the ground. Everything looks good. Belt alignment's good. We ought to be back in business. So I'll go ahead and crank it up. We're going to get the wheels on it because I think we're about to put it on the ground. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the wheels put back on it. We'll crank it up. Make sure everything's good here. We got all that wobble out that side because we got new bearings in it. So we're almost ready for a test ride. Let's get the wheels on it. All right. I got the tires and wheels back on it. We're still on the jack stands. I do have me some chain lube, even though that's a new chain with a little bit of grease on it. I'm going to lube it anyway, but we're going to crank it up and make sure everything jobs. Give her a little, see, gas is on, choke. See if she cranks up. Give her a little gas. Nice. Feels good. Well, we got a little bit because I think I'll get that jacket. Always. Yeah. Can I chain that? Yeah. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No more tire wobble. Yeah, fit. Get chain. You're going to rub it against anything. It's not. All right. Everything looks good. Don't know if you hear, but belt looks good. It's tracking good. We ain't got no wobble over here no more with all the new bearings in it. Got that chain guard and everything bent down so the bolts ain't rubbing on the brand new chain. I did check all the jack shaft bearings. All that was really good. So we'll get a selfie stick, get it on the ground, and we got to do a test drive. Make sure everything's good. Test drive time. All right, we're rolling. I ain't used the GoPro in a while. I'm always using another camera. Anyway, got it fired up. Did check everything over. We had to get down here and grease the front end for them. Got that grease shirt on both sides. Think we got it warmed up enough. Got the old selfie stick. How come this thing don't light up on the front? Can't even see myself. Oh well, we'll figure it out as we get in here. We're gonna take a little rip down the road. We gotta work. Now we're probably looking at the trees. Yeah, think so. What do you think? Let's tilt it down a little bit. Can't see the screen on the front. Oh well. I think it'll be dandy. Oh, okay. Let's hop in here. Bumpy, huh? Okay, here we go. It's off. Gauge is good. Oh, that steering's a lot better after we greased it. Oh, yeah. Oh, Ellie. Today's test drive. Thank y'all very much for watching. We'll be right back with a brief ending to this video. Yeah, we're rolling. All right, that's going to wrap up this here video for this here Kart. Thank the folks that fixed for. They'll be extremely happy with it. Got him a good deal on pricing from Go Power Sports on the belt and the bushings and all that other good stuff. Got the bearings, got back in the rear axle, so that's good and jiving. So his kiddos will be back up in Carton. I think they'll be extremely happy. And I did this video that way they could actually sit there and watch it to see what all the problem was, because I think he had it a couple different places somebody was trying to figure out what was going on with it. He got my number somehow. But anyway, we got them all fixed up. I think they're going to be extremely happy with it. So anyway, so hopefully some of this video will help you out. Say if you're going to go need a belt for a cart like this and you don't exactly know if you got a 30 series or 20 series, you can go back and watch that video, share it with a buddy. That way you can see exactly what kind of part you need. Go on Go Power Sports website, find the little deal over there. It says belt link chart. Thanks what it said. You'll see it with the belts over there on one side or the other. You can click on that, and it gives you a breakdown for how to measure your diameter, gives you little pictures and all that good stuff, so they can assist you in getting the right part for your cart or mini bike, whatever you need. Some of the old vintage mini bikes, they actually do take a 20 series, not a 30 series. So Go Power Sports has all that good stuff for you. You should make sure and check them out. And if you place an order with them, you can click down at the very bottom when you place your order online, click on my little link, lets them know I'm spreading the good gospel for them. And so now I got this done. I got a bunch of other catastrophic failures and family situations finally got out of the way, I think. So now we're going to get on this big build of a Rascal mini bike. It's going to be very cool. Going to have a really cool ending to it. I think y'all will be pretty surprised with that one. I'm ready to get on it. Been kind of putting it off for a while. So enough rambling. Hope y'all enjoy the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you're new, you hit the subscribe bell. Totally free, don't cost you nothing, and I won't send you any scam mail or anything in the mail. So, anyway, once again, thank y'all for watching. Y'all take care. We'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all. It's my good side. It's my other good side. All the sides are good. See y'all later. Bye.